Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name is DaReal. We are back with some NBA 2K Mobile, and we are here with a brand new theme called the Rim Rockers. So let's get into it and break down these players. Now, this theme is based off of some of the greatest dunkers in NBA history, of past slam dunk contest winners, along with explosive dunkers from current NBA. The first player is Derrick Jones Jr. He is craftable. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks and agility. And the overall stat average is a 3.6, which is fairly decent. If you were going to build him out on your team, you should boost up his shoot-off dribble and his playmaking. That'll really make him an explosive dunker for your team. The next player is Aaron Gordon, who's having a great season, I might add, and recently had one of the craziest in-game post to dunks. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks and agility, and most of his stats are pretty good. He's got an overall stat average of 4.1. I believe he got a stat increase. I think most of the times he was either 3.9 or 4, but I could be wrong. But regardless of the fact, if he did get a stat upgrade, he definitely deserves it. If you were to boost up some of his stats, similar to Derrick Jones Jr., I would bring up the shoot-off dribble and the playmaking. That playmaking being a 3 does hurt his value a little bit. And I will boost up his 3-point shot since he is a stretch big. The next player is John Wall. He has an overall stat average of 4.0. I've been telling y'all he is a gem in this game, and some people have seen what I've said is true. He has one of the best dunk packages for a point guard, and is definitely one of the explosive ones in the game. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks, 5 in mid-range shooting, 5 in playmaking, which makes him so good and so fast, and a 5 in agility. There's so much you can do with John Wall for his build. You can ignore the 2 in post scoring because that's not too important for a point guard. So is the 3 in rebounding, and strength not so important. So if you bring up his 3-point shot to a 5, shoot off dribble to a 5, this guy can be an incredible beast on your squad. Next up, we got Larry Nance Jr., who has a 3.6 overall stat average. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks, and that's about it. Most of the stats are fairly average for a power forward, and there's some stats that should be a little bit higher. So if you were to invest in building up Larry Nance Jr., I would bring up his rebounding and his playmaking, and I will also bring up his post scoring. That way we can give him a little bit of inside-outside game since his mid-range is a 4. Next up is a Donovan Mitchell, 3.9 overall stat average. This is a great pink diamond for players who were not able to get the Pearl Winter Donovan Mitchell. Now, normally we don't see players pop up in themes that are so close apart, but Donovan Mitchell is just such a good superstar in the NBA. It kind of makes sense to add him again. And he is an explosive guard. He definitely got some bunnies on him. If you were to build him out, I would focus on bringing up his 3-point shot because he's really good on a pull-up 3. And he's such an incredible slasher. So if you did want to bring up layups and dunks even more in playmaking, he's going to beast out. If you do want to see some gameplay of Donovan Mitchell to see what I'm talking about, I did drop a Worth the Hype video where I featured him along with Christian Wood and Kawhi Leonard in some head-to-head gameplay matches. Pretty crazy gameplay from Donovan Mitchell. Should definitely check that out. Next up is John Morant. He's craftable, definitely a fan favorite in his game. He's got a 4.1 stat average. I also featured him in a Worth the Hype video. A fun player to use, and he is a lot better this time around in NBA 2K Mobile Season 5. He's definitely an incredible player to use in head-to-head. Lightning quick, great slasher, and his jump shot has improved dramatically inside the game. So if you are in a pink diamond tier, this is a great player to get. You can even use him if you're in Galaxy Opal tier because the power is pretty high at 32,000. All right, so we got Terrence Ross coming in at a 3.3 stat average. I gotta admit, that's really low for a small forward or any player inside the game. And I know that Terrence Ross does play NBA 2K23, my team. So I'm hoping that he doesn't see his stat average for this game here because he's not gonna be too happy. But the good news is you could build him out to be a beast because he has some really good stats for a small forward. He has some really, really good scoring stats. If you were to build out Terrence Ross, you gotta boost up his playmaking for sure. Right now, it's sitting at a 3. You got to get that up to a 5 in order to really capitalize how good he is on the slashing. You could bring up his layup dunks to a 5, mid-range to a 5. And if you could bring up his shoot-off dribble to a 5, he could be a really good player for head-to-end for grinding events. The next player is Spud Webb. He is rated a 3.3 as well. Spud definitely has the most bunnies I've ever seen in the NBA. Definitely one of the shorter point guards to play the game. Had incredible heart and incredible dunking ability. So he has a 5 in mid-range shooting, which is actually really good. So there is potential to build him out. And he also has a 5 in playmaking. So 2 of the most important categories for a guard are already a 5. So it shows you that there's potential to build out Spud Webb. Layups and dunks as well. I would also boost up his agility. And if you could, bring up his shoot-off dribble. And that would make Spud Webb a beast, slashing to the rim. And since he is a point guard, he can be able to hit the open shooters as well. Anthony Simons. Now his stat average is low, but he has a lot of really good stats for scoring, right? And I think that's how you want to use him on your squad, right? So he's got a 5 in mid-range. He's got a 5 in three-point shot. So he's buckets for sure. He's also got a 5 in agility and a 4 in playmaking. So there's definitely opportunities to build him out. You got to focus on bringing up his shoot-off dribble, boost up his playmaking, and then if you got extra attributes that you can boost, bring up the mid-range shooting and a three-point shot, and he'll be really good for you on a catch and shoot. He'll be an incredible scorer, but he's just not going to be a good defender, right? So he's going to get torched by the bigger guards like Tracy McGrady, Jordan, Kobe, James Harden. So just keep that in mind. Next up is D Brown, who's got a 3.9 stat average. D Brown should be a lot of fun to use. His card was pretty cool a few seasons ago. You could see he also has some really good stats for a point guard. He's got a 5 in shoot-off dribble, mid-range, and three-point shot. He's also got the 5 in agility. So if you could boost up his layups and dunks and playmaking, he's going to be a solid, right? Very similar to like a Derrick Rose, super explosive. And he's got a decent jump shot, so he should be able to be reliable and head-to-head. Next up, we got Obi Toppin, Knicks Nation. That's what I'm talking about. He's got a 4.0 stat average. Obi's actually pretty decent in his game, right? So he's got a 4.0. He is craftable. He got some really good stats. So he's got 5 in layups and dunks. He's got a 5 in agility, a 5 in strength. He also has a 4 in rebounding and post scoring, which makes him a really good power forward. If you were to boost something up, that 3 in playmaking is something you want to consider. And also bring up his defending, right? Since he's a power forward, you kind of need him to get some shot blocks as well. Playmaking, defending, and if you got some points left over, bring up his mid-range and three-point shot. And he'll be a really good defensive stretch four. Now we got Clyde the Glide Drexler, one of the best players inside the game, and definitely one of the elite small forwards. He's got a 4.6 stat average. Anything you add on him will be a plus, right? Because he's good in every category inside the game. So if you were to build him out, have fun, and create Clyde the way you want him, because he's got good stats at everything, right? He's just one of those players where it doesn't matter what you upgrade. He's going to beast out. If you want him to go super crazy, boost up playmaking, layups and dunks, and enjoy the highlight film. All right, next up, we got Brent Barry coming at a 3.6 stat average. Brent Barry's a decent dunker as well, and he's a pretty good shooter, right? If you see, he's got a 5 in mid-range and a 5 in three-point shot. So if you were to bring up something for Brent Barry, boost up playmaking, and since he's got a 4 in defending, you could probably boost up defending as well. You could turn him into a clamp guard who can also slash on the fast break and get those easy dunks. And if you're able to boost up layups and dunks, you'll really see that for sure. But again, really good player, someone who was explosive early in his career, developed into a very good catch and shoot player. So that's something to consider when using Brent Barry. And he has the dual bonus when you pair him up with rim rockers like Griffin. That's probably a spoiler, but we're going to get up to it anyway. We got up to it a lot sooner than expected. Now we got Clippers Blake Griffin, which is a lot better than the Brooklyn Nets Blake Griffin inside this game. So this guy is definitely a gem. And if you're able to add him to your team, you'll notice how good he is. So he's got a 5 in agility, 5 in strength, 5 in layups and dunks, 5 in mid-range shooting, and a 5 in post scoring. This is crazy. Blake Griffin's definitely one of those elite power forwards, right? At least the Clippers Blake Griffin, right? There's a big difference. Now, if you were to boost up something, which again, there's not a lot to really boost up, but bring up playmaking. You could probably bring up defending a little bit because it's only a 3, and bring up his mid-range, and he'll be excellent for the pick and pop and can get those put-back dunks and, again, give you some great moments inside head-to-head to laugh and smile about. Next up, we got another elite small forward, and this is Dr. J, Julius Erving. He is craftable, but I gotta admit, I'm so used to seeing Dr. J as a top-tier reward. That's going to be a little disappointing to not be able to get him from events, because when you're in Obsidian tier, the lowest reward you get from events is the Jade cards. So if you do want to use Julius Erving and have him on your squad, you got to craft him. Very good player if you were to decide to do that. One of the elite small forwards. You can see his stats. There's not one bad stat, right? Everything's either a 4 or higher. So just like Clyde Drexler, you can build out Dr. J to be a beast. He's already got a 5 in mid-range, layups, dunks, agility, strength, playmaking, and defending. My gosh, this guy is incredible. Next, we got a Jade Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is a fun card to use. He's one of those players that if he slashes to the rim, he is going to dunk the ball. He's not going to decide to all of a sudden take a layup and get blocked. No, he's going to go for a poster. And that's why I enjoy using Zach LaVine. Now, this Zach LaVine is a 3.9. I think because this is a Timberwolves, Zach LaVine, his stats are lower than the Chicago Bulls Zach LaVine, which makes a lot of sense, right? He didn't get to his prime until he got traded, and he started balling out. He's definitely got a lot of stats that you can have fun with. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks, mid-range shooting, 3-point shot, and agility. So if I were to build out Zach LaVine, I will boost up playmaking and boost up shoot-off dribble. All right, so Dwight Howard comes in at a 3.8 overall stat average. Definitely a card that, if you've been playing 2K Mobile for a long time, you know is a secret gem. Dwight Howard, you're not going to rely on for shooting, but very similar to Shaq, they were explosive paint beasts, right? They can get the rebound and slam it down with authority. They're very good on the block. They're really good on the posts. These are players that, if you're going to use in head-to-head, you're going to be fine as long as you stack them around good shooters. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks, agility, strength, rebounding, defending, and post scoring. So you can boost up any of those stats just to make them even more elite in those categories. Next up, you got the human highlight film coming out of 4.6, Dominique Wilkins. Here's another elite small forward, right? It's him, Dr. J, Clyde Drexler, and Larry Bird are just insane in this game. And then the top of the tier is LeBron James, but it's been like that for a long time. And Dominique Wilkins is not going to make you regret using him on your squad. Look at his stats. Pretty much got a 5 in everything. There are some categories that have a 4, and those are the ones that you can boost up, right? You can boost up playmaking, bring him up to like a 5 or 6, and he'll go crazy on your team. Boost up layups and dunks, and he'll be the human highlight film for real. Here we go. As a Knicks fan, you know, I'm hype about this player right here. 2K, big shout out again. But we got a Nate Robinson. And I'm telling you, don't sleep on Nate Robinson. This dude gets buckets inside the game and can get some crazy poster dunks. He's got a 3.6 stat average, but listen, there's potential. You can build him out. So you see he's got a 4 in playmaking. I would definitely boost that up. He already has a 5 in mid-range and 3-point shot, so that makes it a lot easier when building your player. He also has a 5 in agility. So bring up his layups and dunks, his shoot-off dribble, and his playmaking, and I'm telling you, Nate Robinson is going to be incredible for your team. But just remember, he is a shorter guard, so he could get blocked by the taller guards like Ben Simmons, Magic Johnson. But the bright side of things is that those players don't have a higher rarity card, so you won't see him a lot in head-to-head. LaMelo Ball and Luka could be a problem, but aside from that, Nate Robinson should be able to ball out. Next up is one of the biggest secret gems inside of NBA 2K Mobile. At one point, Jason Richardson was the best shooting guard in the game. It was him and T-Mac. Now, his stats average did come down a little bit. I guess 2K realized he was too OP on his stat average. I mean, he had stat average better than Jordan, Kobe, and Tracy McGrady at one point, right? But the card is still pretty elite. You can see his stats. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks, mid-range, 3-point shot, and agility. So if you bring up his playmaking and his shoot-off dribble, and if you somehow are able to also add to the mid-range and 3-point shot, he is going to be a monster. I'm telling you, he could potentially be the best shooting guard in the game if you build him out the right way. 4 in post scoring, which is going to make him sick for the fadeaways on a baseline. Next up is Vince Carter, 4.1 stat average. Y'all know Vinsanity goes crazy in this game. And we got a Pearl now, so he's going to go even crazier. He's got a 5 in mid-range already, a 5 in layups and dunks, and a 5 in shoot-off dribble and agility. So the only thing you need to focus on is building up his 3-point shot, building up his playmaking, and since he's a small forward, you might want to bring up his rebounding a little bit, just up to like a 4. Aside from that, Vinsanity is crazy. He is craftable, so you could have him on your squad. All right, now we are on the last tier, which is Obsidian. We got Sean Kemp coming in. He has the prime player ability. He gets an extra 25% power boost when he is the highest on your team. That is incredible. The Rain Man is so good in this game. One of the most fun power forwards to use. He's got a 6 in strength. Let's just say that, right? You don't see a lot of players with a 6 attribute in anything. He's one of those players. He's also got a 5 in agility, a 5 in layups and dunks, a 5 in defending, and a 5 in post scoring. So you know he is a beast in the paint. One of the most explosive dunkers in NBA history. If you were to build him out, though, you got to bring up his playmaking. I don't know why Sean Kemp's playmaking is always low. Like a 2 is crazy low because he was super athletic. He was a freak of nature. So you got to boost up that playmaker for sure. He's not really a shooter. If you did want to make him into the shooter, you have a better chance of at least making him a pick and pop mid-range shooter, kind of like you use Kevin Garnett. That would be your best bet. And if you want to bring up a shoot-off dribble, you could as well, so that he could get to the rim and just throw it down with authority. Next up is one of the top centers in the game. He doesn't have the stats to support it, but that's mainly because he doesn't have any shooting stats. If you can ignore that, there's so much you can do with Shaquille O'Neal. He already has a 5 in layups and dunks, post scoring, defending, rebounding, and strength. So that makes him an elite center right off the bat. Ignore the shoot-off dribble because you really don't want to be doing crossovers with Shaq anyway, or dribbling the ball, in fact. He doesn't have a mid-range. He doesn't have a three-point shot. Just forget about all that. If I were to build out Shaq, I would try to boost up his playmaking as much as possible and bring up his layups and dunks as much as possible. If you still got some attributes to play with, boost up his rebounding. Shaq will be incredibly crazy for your team. The last Obsidian is Michael Jordan. He has the prime player ability. He is also craftable. He has an overall stat average of 4.4. One of the elite shooting guards in the game, top tier. If you use his courtside pass card, you already know Jordan is incredible in this game. Now, one tip that I want to give you guys, just because you get the Rim Rockers Jordan, I would not recommend getting rid of the courtside pass Jordan, because remember, the courtside pass players still get you an extra 10% style bonus, and they are very helpful when grinding the events. Like if you don't have the theme players, there are reliable cards that have a high power that can still have you playing inside the hard matchups in fantasy finals. It helps you out in power cap. I mean, I just recommend not getting rid of that card. Now, enough with the PSA. Let's get back to MJ. He's got a 5 in playmaking already, a 5 in defending, a 5 in mid-range, a 5 in layups and dunks, a 5 in agility, and a 5 in shoot-off dribble. My gosh, this guy's incredible. His only bad stats is a 3 in strength and a 3 in rebounding. And you can really ignore that, to be honest with you. So if you have the right shoes and the right mentors, boost up Jordan's playmaking, boost up his layups and dunks, boost up his shoot-off dribble, and boost up that mid-range. And he'll go crazy for your team. So those are the new Rim Rocker players. Let's see what events are coming up. Let's see what's the new theme. Let's see what's the new set reward and what players will be rewarded in the events. All right, so for the Rim Rockers theme, in order to get the reward, right, you got to get Anthony Simmons, Obi Toppin, Julius Erving, Zach LaVine, and Vince Carter, which are all good cards to have on your squad. And then you'll be able to get Shawn Kemp. I'm excited about that. You know, I'm going to try to get the Rain Man on my team. As much as I like using the Winter Pascal Siakam right now, Shawn Kemp is definitely going to be a great player to add to the squad. All right, so here is the official announcement from NBA 2K Mobile. So it says the Rim Rockers got next. The theme is the dunk contest winners and others known as great dunkers, which we did recap that earlier. Now, the upcoming events is going to be Power Cap, the J. Dwight Howard, the Pearl Jason Richardson, and the Obsidian Shawn Kemp. I'm telling you, those are all pretty good cards. And then the next event after that is 3v3 Gauntlet. Rewards will be J. Dominique Wilkins, Pearl Nate Robinson, and then Obsidian Michael Jordan. Now, come on. You got to give props where deserved. 2K is giving us a Michael Jordan in one of the easiest events in the game. That's a massive W right there, and I'm hyped. That means we're going to have some pretty elite cards on our teams. Right there, Jason Richardson, I'm telling you, it's going to be a really good card to use. You're going to have a lot of fun using him, especially in the 3v3 Gauntlet grind to get MJ. It's going to be crazy. I'm excited for this theme. Let me know in the comments, what players are you going to be crafting, who you're hyped for, and let me know what reward plays you got from the Fantasy Finals event. As always, I appreciate all the love everyone's shown on the No Money Spent series. Thanks for checking out the Worth the Hype series, where we break down and show gameplay of all the event reward players that we unlock, and along with all the other players that we unlock from playing the game. As always, I appreciate all the support everyone's been showing on the channel. Once again, Happy New Year. Catch you on the next video. Peace out.